Hello and welcome to Jakerz. I'm your host of Jakerz, Great Jakerz 1113. Our studio for Jakerz is incomplete, so we're going to currently use the same studio I used to film news tonight. We usually, instead of making a proper studio, I decided to make these little booths for sets. So anyways, we're going to go on to our first topic, which is what I learned from the presidential interview that I did recently. What did I learn from that presidential interview? In fact, I learned a lot of things about being a good journalist. During that, I learned that sometimes it's the best to not trust the public with questions. Because last time, if you remember, because during that, you remember we had stupid questions like, who is the first lady? And the president's reply was glorious. He said, I'd love to just have some fun in the last months of my presidency. Any women in new stuff? Hit me up. We could have some fun. If you want to be first lady, we could have some fun. But he didn't mean it that way, but it did sound like that way. He immediately had to, save himself from that. That which was hilarious in every single way. By that, I also learned a lot about the president. I also learned a lot about our president. I learned how good of a person he was, and one thing I noticed is how forgiving he was of Lord Death the Reaper. He was forgiving, stating he should not be ousted from the community because of this scandal that happened. He wants to let him back and continue NASA, which I think is great. It is great knowing that we have a president who is willing, who is just overall a very, very good person. I feel very confident. Now I feel very confident in our president. I feel very confident of him in his final terms in office. I think he will do a good job. Those are some of the takeaways from my presidential interview. So, remember recently, Michael R. Smith said he's leaving NASA. He did leave NASA. Well, now we need to wonder what is really next for our beloved group. Could it possibly be inactivity? Could it be just a dying? I think we need to look the optimistic way. I think the president, he said he can't do anything about this inactivity. I disagree with him there. I personally disagree with him. He can do something. He can do something about it. Maybe, he said the UK was pushing us around. Why not fight back? Why not fight back? It would bring tons of activity in the military. The military is always looking forward to stuff like this because war is all they really do. And when there's no war, all they do is sit around and do nothing. So why not fight the UK in a war? It'll be very fun for me to report on. It'll be very fun for the troops involved. No, or you could just hold more events in DC, hold more server startups, and maybe to prevent the Secret Service from clogging up the server, just have a small security detail with you. You could still have it as a decent size, but maybe decrease the overall size of the security detail. I'm not sure if that'll actually work, though. But But we need to start taking this inactivity seriously. This inactivity is a real problem. This inactivity is a real problem that needs to be solved. I think this problem will define the next few administrations. It'll define the next term, whoever ends up being president. Term, like, for example, if Ralph Fullius, I was told that his top priority is to increase activity within NUSA, which would also be my top priority if I were president. It would be to increase activity within NUSA. Anyways, I'm now going to go on to my takeaways from the Republican debate. I think it was last week. Or the week. No, it was this week actually, but what I'm going to say is that Chief Palpatine, he took a tough on crime stance, which I'm going to say overall, it's saying he also wants to increase activity, but he has a different way of doing it. Yeah, I agree. Agencies shouldn't hire based off time zone. That is dumb. And he said the round-the-clock patrols will be interesting if he can get those done, if he does get elected. We do not know if he'll get elected. We don't know if he'll make it to there, and so, but hold on, we have a special report to get to. Please stand by. Hello, this is an FTN News special report. I'm Great Jakerz 1113. The FTN News decision desk has just called the Republican primary, the Republican primaries. The results are slowly coming. The results are coming in, and we have reached the point where we believe it is safe to project a winner of the race. So we now project Chief Palpatine has won. Chief Palpatine to have won. I'm going to repeat that. Chief Palpatine has just won the GOP primary. Chief Palpatine has won with 58.82% of the vote. Country Defender received 35.29% of the vote, and XTHR_XIS received 5.88% of the vote. With a majority of the vote, Chief Palpatine is hereby the Republican nominee for President of the United States. Congratulations and the best of luck to them. That is an announcement that comes from the Republican primary. He's protector of the seal, sleeping raccoon. I'm going to repeat that. Chief Palpatine is the official winner of the GOP primaries. Chief Palpatine has won the Republican primaries for President of the United States. We will sit now, and in just a moment we will get back to Jakerz, already in progress. We now return to our regularly scheduled programming, already in progress. Hello and welcome back to Jakerz. I had to interrupt myself due to an FTN News special report with Republican primary results. They finally came in. Sheep Palpatine was the winner of the primaries. I'm going to repeat that. Sheep Palpatine has won. I think he is an interesting character and a decent nominee for the Republican Party. I do not agree with some of his policies so far. Though those policies being that tough on crime stance, sometimes he doesn't understand doesn't understand that Noosa is built on crime and this. And Epic Cena just said in the Discord, I don't see a point of doing an FTN News report in the middle of a show debuting. I'm going to say that we normally won't. These are like a special report, meaning a special report is only when there's breaking news and stuff like that. So we had to interrupt there. It's sort of consider that the FTN equivalent of a Fox News alert. You know, they go and they like cut off the anchor real quick, and it's like, this is a Fox News alert or something. But recently the LAGW had to cancel its shows because of a power outage the owner had. The owner of the Federation recently had a power outage. I wanted to touch on this real quick, stating that all of the matches that were booked for Slapdown are being moved to next week's show. So therefore, if you want to catch some FTN news, not FTN news, if you want to catch some LAGW action, tune in Saturdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And so if you want to see some FTN Come on, that laugh is obviously fake. So, you just saw an FTN News special report earlier, but that was on this. And, we're now going to go back to the inactivity. There was a poll in the Noosa Discord recently regarding, do you want to bring back events like stuff like the Purge where like all crime is legal for 24 hours and stuff like that. I obviously voted yes. If you heard what I was saying, earlier, you could have assumed that I would be voting yes. So we're going to view the community polls channel and read. It says they're working on keeping the activity set in Washington. So they have recent polls relating to Washington, D.C. For example, there's a poll that was to remove snow in Washington, D.C. The majority, 618 people, said yes. And 82 people said no. The snow was recently removed, and he also asked if we should keep the old DC spawning system in America and said visitors spawn randomly. Keep the current one. You know, that's the current spawning system. All law enforcement always spawns at HQ. 2, revert to the old spawning system. Spawn at VS, HQ, etc. Then the closest spawn pad. The majority said revert to the old spawning system. And this is from the 14th of February. It was an event-related poll to see what events people would like to hold with a Noosa. We're now going to read these. We're now going to go over this poll. We're going to read it. Would you like if we hosted an event as Las Vegas as we used to, such as the Purge, Free for All, escort a convoy protected missions to kill the VIP or prison break individuals out of prison with prizes. No, we would oppose a memo stating no one could be persecuted during this event, meaning it would not affect jobs. React Y if you would attend, and react no if you think that would not be fun. The majority, 184 people, said yes, and only 13 people said no there. So I'm thinking, we could see some events in the future. I'm very excited. And if you think about it, Mayor Polk's free pizza Friday, actually, I would say the intention of it looked like it was to revitalize DC activity, which is I love that municipal order. That is a great municipal order, in my opinion, because of how it actually improves DC activity. Okay. So, the LA, okay. So I'm hoping you are enjoying this show so far. I am enjoying it a lot. I'm happy to share my opinion. Ralph Foley is already on the campaign trail. His campaign is going strong recently. It's going great. He is, I'm not going to say if I support him or not, but he has recently unveiled a new rally center, which looks fantastic. But I'd say it looks too much like it's already an official government, a stage actually used by the real-life president or a presidential debate commission, mainly because there is a maybe I would say it doesn't look like it's used. Maybe because the presidential seal is on it, it doesn't look like it's used by a campaign. It looks like it'd be more used by the actual president of the United States. But that is just my opinion on the design. I noticed that there's a sort of a Mount Rushmore parody in the background. I didn't know whose heads were in the background, but it looked really cool. I'm going to say, Ralph, whoever built that, they did a great job. Recently, I talked with T Soups, and she's his vice presidential candidate. She said at some time she would love to do an interview here on FTN, which is great. I would love to interview T Soups. I am not a T Simp. Also, she's a vice presidential candidate now. We need to know what this could help us get more information about what Ralph Foley's campaign plan is. So, Ralph Foley's campaign will be like and what he's going to do when he gets in office. So I'm thinking this interview will be just as informative as our presidential interview. And plus, you've already seen T-Soups on TV from her time at Fox. So I am hoping you look forward to that. We haven't agreed on a time yet, but it will hopefully be really soon. So anyways, thank you for tuning in to Jakerz. I'm great. Jakerz 1113. The host of Jakerz. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And for now, we're going to say goodbye, good night. Goodbye. See you tomorrow, and later tonight we'll be back. I'll be here. I'll be sitting here right at this desk, bringing you today's top